Oh, there, it's RC. It's turn 11, July 1941. And I've done a separate rolling supplemental again in case somebody's interested. I had a few larger attacks, specifically in Germany, in France. They were rather successful, so I'm just going to go over what happened briefly here. So I did an attrition attack with these 4 artillery across the way. 5 tanks and 2 regular artillery and 2 light tanks came in here. We successfully took out a fighter and a stack of, I think, 8 or 9 infantry and a militia. So that's gone. Good to see. Up here, I had much better luck with Picardy. I did lose a fighter, a medium bomber, due to the French scrambled single aircraft. It kept one back in Paris in case there was a blitz, but I added up my movement and realized I didn't have the movement for the blitz. And then later on I looked up and I noticed that, oh yeah, I did get long-range aircraft, so I did. But I've taken it off already, and I'm not putting it back on again. It's confusing enough. I'm good enough. I thought I didn't have it, and I was being legit, So these are the survivors there. 4 tanks, 4 advanced artillery, 5 advanced mechs. France considered attacking these 3 lone tanks, but the infantry only attack at 2, and it would have been bringing in its only fighter in there. Whereas they defended 5 in the city, and these ones all around here are 4. It moved 4 out of here, and then it built 5 in there. Because if Paris gets surrounded, it loses that way as well. I don't see a way to win, but this way you take more German units off the board. So that's good. So they managed to wait till July 41 to lose any ground in Paris, and that's pretty amazing. That's a lot of German units that didn't show up, especially on the Eastern Front. There's nothing there. No annexations have happened. No Yugoslavia, no Greece. That's a brutal thing. Admittedly, the British lost a substantial stack of 9 or 10 infantry and a fighter, and the French have lost piles and piles of units, but they've also been gaining their full income each turn and spending about $21 a turn in France. So in the long run, it's been just draining Germany. If Germany didn't have its wartime economy for the last little bit here, it would have been totally, this would have never happened. It would have just been crushed by the Allies. So there we go. That's what happened there. Spain, quick rundown. I had an infantry tank and an infantry. They came in here and attacked one guy. I lost an infantry and they lost their place. We won their recruitment roll, so we got this one. Then this guy that was over here moved into here, and I lost another thing. So they failed at their recruitment roll, and Russia didn't send anything down there. That one's kind of a lost cause. I mean, Russia could spend a lot of money down there, but it's kind of boring. So, and yes, I did leave mountains in Switzerland. I know in my last video somebody was making a comment that leaving mountains to go into a no terrain zone would mean I wasn't allowed to blitz on, and that doesn't make any sense. If you read the rules, it says that you can't blitz into or through mountains. The blitz is the second attack, right? So you do your first attack, and then if you attacked into mountains, you can't blitz out of mountains. And if this place was mountains, I couldn't blitz into the mountains because I only have one move in mountains, and I've already used one of my moves. If it was true that I couldn't blitz from Switzerland into Lorraine and then Paris, that would also mean that I couldn't non-combat out of Switzerland into Lorraine and then into Paris, because I would be taking a penalty for where I started, which doesn't make any sense. And yeah, I do not believe that's the rule. I believe I'm following the rules appropriately. All right. There you go. What else happened? There's a couple of convoys, one down here and one up there. This one took 5 off the British. Part of the fleet that was up here moved down here, like carrier, destroyer, cruiser, and a transport to pick up one of the guys they built there to make 2. This little piece of fleet stayed behind. The British built 2 infantry in London. They lend-leased an infantry to Turkey, and the Americans lend-leased a fighter to Turkey because Russia's starting to expand too much, and you got to slow that down somehow. Germany doesn't have any money to do it, and Russia's turned into a monster. It rolled an 8 for its income, so it reached its full 46. Plus, it has 11 other territories, so Russia's income is at 57. And it signed a pact with Germany for now. Right? Why wouldn't you? You're getting $3 extra. You don't have to fight anybody. You don't lose any guys, and you can take over some free stuff like Turkey. All right. So what else happened? The Japanese came in here and they've attacked the KMT in this location. This location. KMT's wiped out now. CCP built a militia. They got two bonus for being next door to Russia, or they'd have no income. And Russia lend-leased them an infantry. And because of all these units that Japan's got moving this way, Russia built 5 tanks and moved a fighter and a tactical over this direction. All right. These fine folks built another Gurkha. They upgraded 2 militia. They built an anti-aircraft gun in this location. They built a colonial over here, and they moved a couple of Gurkhas around and whatever, so there's a stack there. All right, so that's what they did. Australia used the British improved construction to place a carrier in 1 turn for $8, or light carrier, and just flew this plane onto that. The Americans built, besides that land lease, they built these 2, the fighter, tactical, and the carrier, and they placed them all together in the sea zone. There's been some weirdness about people saying that you can't land, you can't place planes on a carrier, and you can't fly in non-combat to a place where a carrier is being built. That was a legitimate rule in version 2, and it has not been removed with version 3 anywhere in the rules that I can see. Safe landing zone is a safe landing zone, and if you don't specifically say, and the safe landing zone could be the carrier that gets built later in the turn, where do you think the plane flies onto the damn carrier? It has to move in non-combat move. Planes can't move in, you know, if you go with that rule, your planes get placed empty. Like, that's ridiculous. I don't know where these people are getting these rule ideas from. If it's trying to game a game, like be gamey so that you can win a game, I get it, but otherwise it just doesn't make any sense. All right, these 3 destroyers came down from the Sea of Japan, and they took over these 3 locations here. This one's worth nothing, but I don't want anybody else to land on it. The fleet that was over here moved here and took that. And then this was my amphibious assault. And the rest of the fleet here, I was not screwing around with that 1 coastal sub that killed 2 of my units last turn. So I managed to successfully kill it, surprisingly. Got some aircraft involved, had to do a little switcheroo, so I had to fly some aircraft from Kwangtung and land them on the large carrier here, and as a result I had the other 2 aircraft get involved here and land in Siam. Yeah, so that's about it for what all happened. The Dutch lost $6 here. The only thing that's left is West Timor, and that can easily be taken next turn. All right, so let's rotate this camera over a little bit here. Tech rolls. All right, I had some tech rolls. I'm not sure exactly what's going on off the top of my head. I believe I rolled long-range aircraft for these two this turn. The Americans finished, I think, long-range aircraft, or no, they got strategic rockets and they moved up improved construction. They failed at everything else, I think. Italy moved forward on its tech rolls, I believe. Actually, I didn't roll Italy. I forgot Italy. I rolled everybody else. Alright. Advanced Max at 7. 1 failed. And a 3 for the other one, so that for long range. So, never mind them. Alright. France did move up, I believe. And there's been a few things where stuff moved in the back, but nothing. The only real new ones that happened here was the long range here for Japan and Germany, and I think that's it that got completed. So there we go. Let's wander over and take a peek at the income tracker. So we have successfully finished turn 11, July 41. Next turn will be January 42, or yeah, January 42. So if you're going to play the 1942 version, apparently that's where that would start. I haven't seen any rules for that one yet. It'd be interesting to check it out. It'd be a lot quicker game anyway. Australia's FEC and Britain all have their regular income. France lost 4, so they went down from 18 to 14 with Picardy and Alsace-Lorraine taken by the Germans. Italy's unchanged. They're still neutral. Germany went from 29 to 33 with the loss of the French stuff. Japan went up $6 from the Dutch to 40. The Americans rolled a 7 and moved up to 42. And the Russians were sitting at 38. They rolled to 46, and then I added in their 11 of additional income together to 57. So right now, Russians are starting to romp around. I'm not sure what's going to happen here, but it looks like next turn Germany's probably going to take France, and they may do the Vichy thing. The main reason Italy hasn't gotten involved, it would have been a prime opportunity for them, but all that French fleet combined with the British fleet was just way too much for Italy. The French alone are more than Italy, so that never happened. So that's it. January 42, that's the end of that one. So there we go. Yeah, so my only comments are, if anybody's been making comments on my videos about the blitzing rule, the terrain you leave doesn't count, just like a river. It's what you drive into. And this carrier rules, I don't know where people are getting this loopy idea that you can't land a carrier on a plane on a carrier built. You need to show in your non-combat movement where the plane will stop and explain that I have this carrier on the place units box, and this is where it's going to be placed, right next to a factory or a shipyard connected by rail to a factory. That's how the rule works. That's how the game's been for since it started. Anyway, I don't know where these wonky ideas are coming from. All right, so there you go. That's so if you have any questions about how I'm playing my game, there you go. I will let you know.